Hello and welcome to Moxie Journal. My name is Calix and I am so excited for today's deck walkthrough. I have just gotten Todd Alcott's Sci-Fi Tarot and I cannot wait to share it with you. So if you even sort of like sci-fi, I hope you will join me as we step through this really fun theme deck together. I'm gonna say I will try at the end of this video to show you, maybe give you a little context about how many science fiction books I have in my house. I went to film it just a few minutes ago, but everybody in my house is still sleeping. So I decided not to wake them up and bother them by stepping through and showing all of our bookcases. But we have a couple thousand books in our house and about at least 1,200 are sci-fi and fantasy books. So just to let you know. And if I don't get a chance to actually video it and put it at the end, because honestly, I don't know how to squash two videos together yet, but like we have so many books that we put bookshelves in our dining room and we now affectionately call it the diningberry, and it's where the 8 of us used to eat dinner. We've actually, now that the kids are mostly gone, we've taken one of the tables out, and so it's a little bit more like a library instead of a diningberry, but still, it's a great gaming and reading room. So when I saw Todd Alcott's Sci-Fi Tarot, I just knew it had to be part of my collection. So I have a little background here, but I'm going to slide it away just as we get started so we can focus on the main thing, which is the cards, although I'll leave my little robot guy. He's so funny. We actually have a holiday in my family called a Happy Alien Robot Day. It is a movable feast. When you have a really large family and you know, share custody with other parents and things, you sometimes have to reorganize things. And we once had a family event, occurrence that was really hard. And when the anniversary of it came up, everybody was talking about what a hard day that had been and how they were kind of dreading the anniversary of the hard day. And so we decided as a family to redefine what hard meant, to celebrate that we'd gotten through it, but also to redefine that. And so we kind of spitballed and we came up with Happy Alien Robot Day. And so now we have some fun family theme days, and it is a movable feast. So anytime there's been a hard situation and we need a little family support, we have an impromptu Happy Alien Robot Day to both honor what actually happened, but also to talk about a creative way to move through it. So that's just to let you know how we pull sci-fi into our day-to-day lives. And now I have the lens of tarot, and it's really fun for me to think about combining my love of sci-fi through the lens of tarot. And who knows, maybe at the next Happy Alien Robot Day in my family, I will do some readings for my family. I've never done a reading for anybody else besides myself, so no promises on that. That really may not happen, but it's fun to think about anyway. All right, so that's enough waffling and general info to get started. This is a hard box. It is made to look like a old sci-fi classic book on the shelf. It opens like a book. It even has a front cover like it's got a little library checkout. This is by the Unemployed Philosophers Guild, which is really fun. And this is the same creator of the Pulp Tarot and the Horror Tarot, which you may already know about. And this says, this is a complete 78 card tarot deck with a space age art inspired by 70 years of futuristic illustration. Gaze in awe as robots, aliens, astronauts, and bug-eyed monsters interact with the immortal imagery of the tarot. The instruction book guides you through the major arcana and all 4 suits of the minor arcana. The future has never looked so retro. So this is where we're starting. And again, it's a hardback cover. It does have this glossy little book right here, and then these are the actual cards with a lift out. This is the back, and this is just one of the fronts. In terms of cardstock, you all know that I'm not particularly good with analyzing cardstock, but it feels really nice to me. I think, let's see, I think this is a standard tarot. This is the strength card from the Light Seers Tarot, and I think it's a pretty standard one. So this is yeah, this is, I think, just the same size, standard tarot size. And it's nice and bendy. It shuffles really nicely. I'm not going to shuffle it right now for you. Maybe I'll remember to do that at the end. Maybe I won't. Again, I make no promises. That brain that I have, she's very cute, but sometimes she's not particularly linear or remembering. So they're very nice. They do snap back into shape, and the deck is quite the right size, not too thick, but this feels like it would hold up to shuffling. So again, I don't know the GSM or the words about the core or any of that, but that's what we've got. And then to start off with our little book, and actually I'll kind of come down a little bit. I love the little, Rodin's thinker robot. It is a very fun introduction. It's written by an imagined AI program that's reporting to the hive mind. And before you worry about it at all, at the back there is a note from the author that does say there is no AI involved in the making of any of the images or anything. That, in fact, as it says, as I toiled away on the cards in the summer of 2023, AI programs suddenly became major players in the worlds of both design and language. Before I finished this deck, Photoshop updated their program to include an AI assistant that could take over designing your works for you. Please rest assured that no AI was used in either the creation of these images or the writing of this booklet. So this is created by this human author, just in the vein of pretending to be an AI program in 10,000 years in the future, reporting to the hive mind on this crazy little experiment of humanity about the tarot. So he has a bit of sort of future history of the tarot, so it is kind of explained. And then each card has a tiny write-up. It's not very big, and it does talk about the meanings. For example, the High Priestess says, humans craved hierarchy. It was important for them to know who was in charge, who was more powerful than whom, and what rules they needed to live by in order to to avoid the wrath of the elite. In some cases, an authority figure was someone to be feared, but the High Priestess was more of a caring entity, one of the maternal wisdom, someone the querent could turn to in times of trouble or stress. She had a deep understanding of how the world worked and could dispense helpful advice. So I don't know if that's exactly your take. It is not quite my take. I have a little bit more interest in the power and the psychic abilities of the priestess. So, but some of them are I think a little bit more in line with the way I read things. It is kind of funny though when they talk about humans. For that instance, the hangman. A human hangs themselves by their ankles. Why? In the history of the species, many humans were hanged by their necks as punishment, but this man is not being punished. He has chosen this predicament for himself, right? So it's kind of a little, it's just fun. One thing that the suits do, they do follow. It's still wands. It's still wands and cups and swords and pentacles, and it's still associated with the elements of fire and water and then air and earth. But I will say that one thing that this does, and I will have to see if this is a deal breaker for me, I don't think it will be, but it's possible, is that in associating each suit, instead of like in the past, actually, okay, let's just read what it says here. With previous decks, I made the decision to differentiate the suits by genre. For the Horror Tarot, I made the major arcana movie posters. The wands were made to look like 1960s monster fan magazines. The cups were made to look like 1980s horror paperbacks, and so forth. For the Sci-Fi Tarot, there was a lot of ground I wanted to cover graphically, so instead of making each suit look like a specific type of medium, I arranged the suits by color, and the colors by the season cycle. But the problem here is that while the elements align with my personal understanding and correspondence, the seasons that he has picked and therefore the colors do not align. So he has wands as being spring green, cups being a summer yellow, swords being an autumnal red, and pentacles being a wintry blue. And that is about as off from the way I think of them as possible. But I think once shuffled, because it's just indicated by color, I don't know that it'll bother me, but we'll see. We'll see. So as we go along and step through the cards, I'd love it if you tell me what you think of that. So I'll zoom in just a little closer. As I've said before, the way let's see if I can get this in the frame too. We'll see. Probably not. Okay. We'll just put this little book up here. I do, when I welcome in a deck, I get to know them. I step through them one by one. I shuffle them. I step through them again. I do a welcome aboard spread in my journal, which I won't walk you through. I've walked through that on some other decks. But I mean, let me know if you're interested in that, and I can show more of those pieces. But for today, I thought I would just step through the cards. And so I have reorganized them, but I do that when I clear my deck, when I reorder it in the way that aligns with my magical practice. So that starts in the north with pentacles, which are usually a green or brown or black color this season of winter. And then in the east, I go to swords, which is air, which is usually yellow in spring and dawn. And then I go to the south, which is fire, which is wands, which is heat, which is red. And then over to the west, which is cups, which is water, which is emotions. And then I come back and dive into the major arcana. So I can kind of work with, they've made the Ace of Pentacles. They do actually associate it with with winter, and I can kind of get there with blue, even though that's usually my my idea of cups. So here are the pentacles, and I do love these. Ooh, okay, let's put them in frame, please. I do love the play on the different sci-fi books of the age. I mean, I've got, you know, like how fun is this? I mean, we can kind of see. I tried to get some of my older, but some of my oldest and most treasured books are actually back in the bedroom, so they're unavailable right now. Anyway, okay, enough waffling, Calyx. The Ace of Pentacles, and then we have, and the book does not actually explain about any specific images and the artwork. It does talk about enough to kind of give the meaning, but you saw that little paragraph. So it's just up to interpretation, and you get the idea of the style. I mean, it definitely is the almost pinup type of pictures sometimes, but I do love the little words if you look at them. Trapped between two realities. Can she keep her balance? You know, like the serials that used to come out. So you do have clues on the surface of the cards, on the front of the cards, that kind of let you see some of the meanings. The Three of Pentacles, we've got the blueprints, we've got the people working, you know, a spellbinding tale of cooperation up there in the left-hand corner. The Four of Pentacles, they hoarded secrets. The question is why? Isn't that great? We've got the Four here. The Five of Pentacles, lost, alone, and afraid, with worse to come. Her face. Maybe I can set these down and lift them up. Maybe I'll hold them still a little better. All right. The Six. It was an astounding act of charity that would change history. But what did it mean? Right, so it does align with the classic Rider-Waite-Smith meanings, and you don't have to read the little book. There's a little bit of information in there, and it's kind of fun maybe to read it once through, but then you can just work with these cards, right? So for the Seven, Commander Ixnar inspects his invasion fleet. The invasion took years of preparation, but all the planning paid off. The Eight of Pentacles, learning a trade, gaining mastery. The Nine, luxury at the end of the world, an oasis of riches to sustain herself. I love this take on the Ten of Pentacles. Has cloning gone too far? Look at all the faces. Pretend magazine cover. And then we get into our court cards. The Page of Pentacles, as seen on TV. The Knight, look at that, harkens back. Forge ahead with the Knight of Pentacles. We have our Queen. And then we have that connection with sci-fi and then harkening back to ancient wisdom and were the Pharaoh's ancient aliens. Our beautiful Queen. We have our King. He had it all. What he did with it changed the universe. I want to read some of these books. And then we jump into the swords. It's a little ray gun. Look, I've got a little ray gun too. Like, I mean, you know. I think this is the only one that's turned that way. The OCD part of my brain has a little bit of trouble with that, but still, it's fun. And again, they don't always, I mean, that could totally be read. You just read it upright with a gun like that. Two of Swords. Great sci-fi take on classic imagery. Then we've got the Three of Swords. We do have a pierced heart, but look at that anatomical heart kind of hanging in the sky. Heartache from beyond space and time. Then we have the Four of Swords, the respite chamber, deep in meditation, ready for combat. Love that she's got the gun in her hand, so that again, that take on that pause with more to come. And the red's not super bothering me here. I mean, I do think of swords as being air and intellect, but you have the intellect, you have the ray guns. The red sort of makes sense, even though for me that's kind of fire and summer and all of that. So I think particularly when they're shuffled and not just back to back to back, it'll be okay. But I'll see. I'll have to report back to you maybe. The Slaughter of the Green Men. Did Argon the Destroyer go too far? We have our Six of Swords. Look at that escape. Getting away from the system there. The Seven of Swords. Look at his little face. He stole weapons from the invaders, but was it justice? And then exiled. Here we go. The Eight. We get to the Nine of Swords. Nightmare in space. Look, her little cheeky bum hanging out, which was very the sci-fi covers back in the day. You know, some heaving bosoms and some curvy thighs. A lot of fun there. All right, the Ten of Swords. He went looking for a better life and found annihilation. It's an interesting take for that. I don't really get the regeneration coming out of this, but I'm just going to trust that with science fiction that's possible, that next space. All right, we have Page of Swords. I love her kind of swinging here. A little reminds me of a scene from one of the Star Trek movies. Star Wars movies, but obviously with a different character here. And we have that Page of Swords moving around. We have the Knight fighting his way. When the world needed a warrior, he stepped into the breach. I love the Queen of Swords. Look at her. She knows what must be done, and she isn't afraid to do it. She is. I love the mechanical piece here for her clear sight. The King of Swords. The smartest man on any planet. And then we get to the Ace of Wands. I swear this looks like like the cover of maybe Hammerfall, or it's a Larry Niven book. Like I tried to find it on my shelf. I was like, oh, I think I know what book this is from. The Ace of Wands, card number 1 in the Suit of Wands series. The Two. I'll try not to comment on every single solitary one, but I think these are just so wonderful. A light on the horizon calls to you. And then we have the 4, definitely sort of hearkening to War of the Worlds type of imagery here. Joyous celebration of homecoming. Celebration with this. Oh my goodness. Eyeballs. I thought maybe I would get away from an eyeball deck, but no, not so much. Here we have the 5. I love the sort of putrid green. Something is coming after them. Featuring best laid plans and what happens next. Number 6, Ascendance. Wands, cornered. Does she have a secret weapon? That's the little green man. More wands here. Changes in the air. Of all the light codes, these images just speak to me. We have the 9. Look at that face. The barriers between us. And then we get to the 10. Right, we've got the burden. That could be a an Isaac Asimov book right there. That could be something out of Foundation for sure. And then we have the Page. I love her cute little hair covering there, but then, you know, her legs and shoulders are bare. But she's got to protect her hair from all that Martian dust, I guess. And it says, a new day dawns on the planet of the spirit. Here's our Knight of Wands, adventurer, first to set foot upon a new world. Our Queen. I want some of these sci-fi creatures. I think that they would be fantastic. And here we have our King of Wands, natural born leader. And then we're into Cups. And here we go. Thrilling new emotional experiences. Your future begins now. What's in the container? And we'll see that these are definitely different types of containers. 2 of Cups. When 2 become 1. 3 of Cups. Oh, look at this. The 3 graces of Dimension Q. Sisters, friends, and masters of revel. I love the look on her face. She is like, bring it. We are here. 4 of Cups. Have you checked your blind spot? I think it's a very interesting. There's a lot going on in this. It's like concentration will help complete a task, but keep open to possibilities beyond the obvious. Again, so you wouldn't have to use the book, even if you just needed a few reminders. There are a lot of clues here on these. The 5. I think this is a really interesting take on the spilled cups, right? We have these 3 here with these 2 still alive, but he's not able to see those necessarily. The 6 of Cups, the future through the eyes of the past. Weird little nostalgia. 7 of Cups, 7 weird, wild, and wonderful illusions to dazzle and distract your mind. 8 of Cups. There is a little synesthesia for me in some of these. I mean, I experience some of that anyway. Sometimes colors have a taste, and sometimes sounds create some interesting mental resonance for me. So there are some of the colors, because they're so associated with elements and seasons for me, I'm having a little bit of trouble. And this one, after I flipped it over, the fact that it says to dazzle and distract your mind, but this is Cups. So for me, I think of this as more of an emotional, intuitive choice, not necessarily a mental choice. But then I think, okay, well, maybe that's where the mind comes in. So distract the mind, but then the caution is to make the choice with your intuition. For me, the 7 of Cups is a little bit like the 3 of Swords, and then it's got some crossover between some of the senses and suits and things. Do you all read that way? Does that, do you have cards that are a little crossover or maybe get a little you kind of have to stop and work your way through them. Please let me know. Please tell me I'm not all alone in that. All right, Eight of Cups, here we go. Escaping galactic law means a midnight of the soul for cups. Oh, for Captain, I should put my glasses on, Captain Minerva Lacey. All right, here she goes, escaping, escape. The Nine of Cups, oh, look at this. She's taking a relaxing dip in pure molten gold and thinks about victory. 10 of Cups, family, home, and happiness, wave of the future. This is like a little Jetsons car, which, by the way, we were supposed to have by now. Where are our hover cars? Page of Cups. Like, I love the little fish, right? The little flying fish from the container. I do like some of the callbacks. And we have all these princesses and things. Here we go. The future of romance. The Knight of Cups is usually my least favorite, but I think he's a lot of fun. He steadfastly carries his romantic burden over barren mountain landscapes. So I don't know, if I keep running into decks that have great knight imagery, I might begin to love the knights. Here we go, Queen of Cups. She's one of my favorites. King of Cups. He's got a very interesting helicopter situation going on there. And then we get into the majors. Here, let me move them a little bit more. The Fool. Yeah. Oops. Hold them still, Calyx. The Fool. Stepping into the unknown. That's a take off of the cliff. Do wish there was a little creature kind of cheering him on, but the Magician, the Manifester, we have this robot. The High Priestess, I do like that they gave her a pomegranate. She's got her pillars. She has her lore here. I like that it's a punch card that they used to use in programming, and instead of a scroll or a book or a tablet that we've seen, it's several different ways of representing that. And I love that it goes back to that computer early 50s, like punch cards. The Empress, mother of invention. The Emperor, a power like unto a god. All of these just got this ship that he's able to break in half if he wants to. He looks very solid, very in charge. Here's a Hierophant, bringer of order and orthodoxy to the galaxy. Totally sci-fi. The Lovers. Oh no, star-crossed lovers. Their passion brought war to the galaxy. Chariot, of course, we've got, again, sort of a almost War of the Worlds type of chariot. The Strength. Look, she's very calmly just touching and holding back and being in charge of this very scary looking creature. She does not look worried about it. The Hermit. Oh, great card. Alone among the stars. Makes me think of that movie, The Martian, right? That's a great hermit existence. The Wheel of Fortune with the space station revolving around the planet. A lot can happen. Our Justice with the scales. Our Hanged Man. Was he a madman or a prophet? We'll have to wait and see. Again, and it gives us the number at the bottom. The Death card. It's kind of interesting. Look, you see that this is a, let me pull it up here. This is looks like a skull with rings around it. So going to I think that's a very evocative, scary, resonant image. Might have to do a little journaling on what that calls up for me. Sci-Fi Temperance, look at her balancing human and metal, right? Finding life's balance between the robotic and the organic. The devil, we have our two figures here leashed to this machine, perfectly engineered for enslavement. Definitely brings up some thoughts about AI. Our tower, this building that's being dismantled here, our constructions, the star, look at her floating there. The moon, this is, look at this little lobster crayfish guy. I think he's great. We don't have the two little creatures howling, but we've got the moon, what lurks below the surface. It calls into question what's really going on there. And then the sun, I think that is a deceptively simple image, but we do have the child figure, we have the sun radiating. Judgment, that last judgment, the awakening, the call, the last days of planet Omega. And then our final card here, the world. Oh, I love this graphic here. Very evocative of some, I think, a Kurt Vonnegut book that I have, in fact. So, so there you have it. There is the Sci-Fi Tarot by Todd Alcott. Really interestingly imagined and articulated, and I think it's a lot of fun, and I'll be interested to see how it plays out in terms of readings for me. I would love it if you would let me know what your thoughts are. Have you had any of Todd Alcott's other decks? How do they read for you? Do you have this one? Are you interested in this one? Talk to me, my friend. All right, thank you so much for being here, and pew pew. Until next time, see you